Hey YouTube, welcome back. So in this video I want to talk about Chris Brown and some bias that Chris Brown may have against, darker skinned black women. And this bias has come up in the past, but it has resurfaced again. And I'll say that I think Chris Brown, I think that he is somewhat color struck, you know. Um, I think that Chris Brown, he as far as his interest in women are concerned, as far as like looks are concerned, he kind of goes for like the exotical types, and that's his business. I'm not trying to really police anyone's preferences because at the end of the day, your preferences are your preferences, whether they come from an effed up place or not. Ultimately, you have a right to have a preference, right? But I think that this sort of low key goes beyond a preference at one point or another, especially when it starts to get malicious. And I think in this situation with Chris Brown, it sort of just got malicious. And apparently, Chris Brown, he was celebrating his 32nd birthday, and he had a party, and he invited people to come to the party. A group of women came to the party. It was one dark-skinned black woman, two light-skinned black women, and one white woman in the group. The light-skinned women and white women, they were cool to go in, but the dark-skinned woman could not go in. And I think they may have gotten to a point where they all were actually in, but then Chris Brown came up to the group and said basically like, oh, y'all cool, but you can't come in. And then at one point or another, Chris had said, no darkies allowed. And I guess that's how it ended. I don't know if the friends went to the party and left the girl or they left with their friend. I don't know. I don't know the details about that part. And, Chris Brown has been accused of not allowing dark-skinned women into his VIP area, per what Tokyo Vanity said, And I'll say again, he has to like and prefer what he wants, preferences. Right. But at this point, is this really like just a preference? Because he could have just let her come in. He doesn't have to be sexually attracted to her for her to enjoy the party, right? He doesn't really have to be, you know. And also, notice that there is a maliciousness with this preference thing. And that's something that we don't really touch on either. Why are sometimes some people's preferences expressed in a malicious way? In a way that's like, oh, let me cut, right? Let me hurt this person in a way, right? Why is there maliciousness being expressed with this preference? Like, I get it. You like what you like. That's cool. Just keep it pushing. You don't have to come through with the malicious part of it, though. You don't have to want to tear down somebody just because they may not fit what you deem to be attractive. And folks, they be feeling way too comfortable with it, too. It's like we've sort of fostered an environment where this is okay, right? Folks, it's like, oh, well, it must be something. Then it's like we can think of 1,001 excuses to excuse Chris Brown's behavior. But, let this woman had come in to his party and said something foul to him. And then he responded, well, we wouldn't be excusing her behavior, right? And some people are going to come through and say, well, it's his party and he can do it if he wants to. It's Chris Brown's party and he can say no darkies. He can say no dark. Yes, he can. But the thing is, though, why? Because I don't really think Chris Brown is really all that attracted to, like, say, white women. Oddly enough, I don't really think that that's the case, but he let that white woman come in, and he also, that white woman from a while ago tried to get him like arrested or something like that too. That was a thing, right? But yeah, that's this ain't it's it's like sad because it's not really a surprise, you know. Is it really a surprise, you know? Probably not, especially to the women who are darker skinned out there, you know. But Chris Brown around here looking like a Chipotle bag. I mean, nobody spoke on that, you know. I don't know. Like personally, I'm not really with tattoos, but I can understand like a couple of tattoos here and there. You know, I've seen some tattoos where it's like, okay, that's what's up. But I don't know. I think Chris Brown might have went overboard with the tattoos. Just my opinion. So if she had came in there and said, "Hey, I don't like Chipotle bags, Chris," then he would be in his right to be like, "Hey, then you can get out." But I don't really think something like that happened though. Was he just triggered because she got dark skin? Did he just assume she may have a bad attitude because she dark skinned or something? You know. But you know, as quiet as it's kept, Chris Brown, I think he wishes that he had more "quote unquote" exotic features himself. I remember a quote um, from some place, I don't know where, but it was like him kind of like going crazy over Rihanna's eye color. Like the color of her eyes, I think maybe green. So yeah, and he also mentioned that his mom has like maybe blue eyes or something, some sort of like quote unquote exotic eye color, right? You know, he's permed his hair a couple of times, which is cool. You know, you have a right to express your hairstyles how you want to express. He also has been on record claiming that he biracial. Chris Brown, no, he ain't no biracial, and he had his kids by non-black women too. You know, you know. And he also comes from a dynamic where the mom is biracial, light skin biracial, and the dad is like brown skin, dark skin. We know that dynamic does help breed colorism, and there was also abuse in the household too, right? I'm just saying. I know y'all don't like when I go to that place, right? When I go there, right? When I start really going into the relationship dynamics and things like that, and how those can help breed colorism and create colorist children, right? But it's true, you know, that can play a part in it. But my question was, were dark skinned dudes allowed to come into the party? Let's be real. Were dark skinned men allowed to come into the party? Probably. Probably. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Chris Brown didn't exclude or alienate dark skinned black men and say that they can't come into the party because they dark skinned and they blacker than 1,001 midnights, and we can't have you around here blackening up the party and absorbing all the light and nah. Mm-mm. I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. I just don't see that, right? So, he let the dark skinned dudes come into the party though. Chris, he cool with the dark skinned dudes, so but then again, he may have some low key anti dark sentiments towards dark skinned black men too. He may. Um that isn't completely, excluded. Just like when dark skinned black men say some things that are like colorist, I'm pretty sure they have anti-black sentiments, anti-dark skin sentiments towards black men who have dark skin, including themselves. Right. So yeah, I unfortunately I just don't see this story being really talked about all that much. Again, the black community, when it comes to internal issues that black men are perpetuating, all of a sudden we got bigger fish to fry, we got bigger issues, we got more important things to talk about than this person light skin and this person dark skin. Well, it's more to it than that though, idiot. So yeah, we do there's going to always be something more important to talk about, but we can multitask. We can deal with more than one issue at a time, right? And since when are you guys concerned about quote unquote frying fish? As in taking care of business and dealing with issues. Since when are you even been concerned about that? Like, it's not like y'all actually are doing anything about the pressing issues that we do have. you know those issues are really complicated too to deal with. This issue would be an easier issue to deal with than the other issues that we have, like say police brutality that's keeping the black man down. See, they trying to shoot the black man, beat the black man, stomp the black man into the ground, but we rise because we black. We rise. It just be like that. You can't keep a good man down. Can't keep a good black man down. Sure enough. All right now. And again, since when are we really? What are we really doing about the issues that are just so important, right? What are we really doing about those issues? So, folks like to come through and say stuff like that just to deflect and to derail the conversation, and to get the spotlight off of them, because they be feeling kind of uncomfortable, because they know they kind of this stuff that people are saying, it applies to them, so they feel uncomfortable. So they gotta be like, oh well, we got bigger issues than that, you know. Whether it's the guys or sometimes the women will come through too, because either they just feel like, well, it ain't affecting me, so bye. Or either it's like positively affecting you, where you will be the beneficiary of the colorism, you know. So yeah. But really, Chris Brown should have been canceled probably when the Rihanna situation happened. But, it's the black community, and the black woman was the victim. So she must have somehow, some way brought it on herself. Rihanna did something. Rihanna got that big, you know, Caribbean woman mouth. You know how them Caribbean women be all, aggressive and stuff, and be trying to start fights with their man. Right? So she brought it on herself. Right? You know, Even though, Chris Brown has been, he was being really aggressive with Carucci and stalking her, I think, at one point, right? Um, you know, Long story short, Chris Brown, he ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. Now, if it comes out that he says something really foul about dark-skinned black men, then I think people might get a little serious about it. The sacred cow in the black community, dark-skinned black men, we can't go after them. We can't make them feel bad for being dark-skinned. We can make the black women feel bad for being dark-skinned. That's cool. That's cool. That's fine. But nuh-uh, we can't be lit. Nuh-uh, not the dark-skinned chocolate back kings. Nuh-uh. So it'd have to come out like Chris Brown was being, talking slick about dark skinned black dudes, saying that they look like smelly gorillas in the zoo or something, saying that dark skinned black men, you know, they make good for target practice for the cops and stuff. When dark skinned black men get put in jail cells to be looking like zoo exhibits, stuff like that. We're just really ignorant stuff, right? The dark skinned black men, you know, and how when you see a group of them, it looks like Planet of the Apes, etc. Right? So if that ever happens, then I think folks will be like, "What's up? What's up? Let's get at Chris." Right? And then Chris will have to come through and make a statement. Right? And then it'll be up to the community, if they will accept the statement, probably be an apology or whatever. But I don't see that really happening though. But I guess we'll see. But I think I've mentioned all I have to say for the moment. Um, you know, what do you think about all this? You know, I do think that people are feeling a bit too comfortable, you know, to be saying the colorist stuff. To be feeling a bit. The community has fostered that comfortability, though, at least when it comes to saying colorist things about dark-skinned black women. And partially it's just because folks just let it ride. It's just like, oh, well, you know, folks got a right to a preference. Like, this is beyond a preference. You know, this is beyond just a preference now. Let's be real. But, you know, people, they don't want to have the conversation, don't want to have the discussions, the dialogues. And I think partially the reason is because they feel implicated in it in some way, right? Because they may perhaps maybe have similar sentiments. Maybe they don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers. They don't want to rock the boat, what have you. But until we start having more honest conversations and dialogues and really calling things out, this type of stuff is just going to continue to happen, right? And, you know, for Chris, hopefully he can, you know, grow up and, you know, drop the colorism stuff. But I feel like you don't necessarily grow out of colorism. I think that's something that you have to work to get out of if you're in it. I just don't think that it just happens like, oh, you know, I'm 30 years old. I'm no longer a colorist. Oh, I'm 40 years old. No more colorism for me. Oh, no, I'm 50. No, no more. It just don't work like that. It's like, you know, it's something that you have to do. You have to put in effort to do, you know, because I know there's some people who want to argue like, oh, well, you know, and also Chris Brown is 32 years old. So like when it's going to happen, you know, like when you going to grow out of the colorism, you know, it's not like he's 22 years old, you know, but folks want to come through and make that argument. I'm like, oh, you know, colorism, you know, it don't make no sense. Folks don't participate in colorism after 25 years old. Someone actually made some sort of a comment like that. And of course, I easily debunked the comment. They were in their feelings about me debunking the comment, but still. All right. But yeah, someone actually did make a comment in my comment section of one of my videos about that. You know? And I'm like, and honestly, a lot of people don't even mature past the age of like high school, you know, to be honest. So even if they are physically older than 25 or whatever, mentally they're probably still around the age of like a high schooler. So yeah. So there goes that. But I guess I mentioned all I had to say for the moment, y'all. So let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.